Bringing expert cancer training and collaboration to Rockford area health professionals. This is a goal of the first medical conference hosted by UW Health today. Roughly 70 physicians, nurses, advanced practice nurses, physician assistants, and pharmacists were in attendance to learn more about what they can do to improve patient care locally. UW Health reps say it's important different health systems come together so people in Rockford can receive the best care. They discuss new advancements in different areas, including bleeding and clotting disorders, the impact of substance abuse on hematological health, advances in breast cancer care, and emerging cancer therapies.
It is not one-man show. It is not only the doctor. It is the nurses, the MAs, the receptionists, the genetic counselor, everyone growing in very fast fashion because we need to correlate with the new advances in the cancer and the new medications we have.
Attendees also learned about different approaches for patient care across diverse clinical settings, finding effective communication strategies for patients, and managing treatment-related adverse events in patients.